Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Alyssa. I'm so glad you came. I am totally blind and I make videos here on my channel on lifestyle, motherhood. I do vlogs and I just love the YouTube community and I love being a part of it. So I'm so glad that you're here. Today's video is going to be a very raw, unedited, fun video for you. I'm actually doing a tag video and this tag is called Do All Blind People Think the Same? It is a blind YouTuber tag created by a YouTuber named Kayla with a C. She's amazing, and so she made this tag originally, made it into a tag, and I was actually tagged by Cindy from Seeing Blind. So I'm really happy to be doing this today. So what we have here are some statements. They're not actually questions, they're more statements. And basically, I will have to respond to them with either strongly disagree, somewhat agree, or strongly agree. Okay, so these are my options for answers. And as you might know, if you watch my channel in my tag videos that I've done recently, I used to have a Braille note where I'd read my questions, like a little computer with a Braille display, but it's broken and it's very sad. So for tag videos, I have my amazing husband that reads me the questions because yes, I am married and it's amazing. So he's here with me. He's actually not behind the camera, but he's somewhere around here and he's gonna read the questions for us. So, or the statements, I should say. So sweetheart, whenever you're ready, the first statement of this tag.
Being blind has enhanced my other senses.
Okay. So to this, I think I would say somewhat disagree. And here's why I don't completely disagree. I do think that my other senses are more like in tune because they're used to being like, they're used more. So they're just more in practice, I guess you could say. But the reason I somewhat disagree with this is because I think it's a common misconception that blind people, their other senses are better. In my mind, they're just like anyone else's. Like, for instance, my hearing was terrible when I was a kid. I had to have ear tubes put in when I was 5, and I still have my ears are fine now, but they're still sensitive. I can't be in a too loud of a room or anything because it's not fun for me, and certain sounds really hurt my ears, and so my ears are definitely not better. My sense of smell, funny enough, when I was pregnant it was great, but that's normal. But funny enough, my sense of smell is not great. My husband smells things before I do, and so yeah, it's not great. My sense of taste is good. I think all my senses, like I said, just normal. I think it's a misconception, and I think some of my senses are not as good as others. So yes, I somewhat disagree with that statement. All right, babe, next one.
I prefer to date fellow blind people. Right.
Is this before I was married? Yeah, definitely. So I've been married to my amazing husband for almost 6 years now, you guys. We'll be celebrating 6 years next month. So crazy. So before I was married, before I met my husband, okay, let's go way back. Okay, so this statement, I would say, this might be a little bit of a shock to some people who know me, but I would say that I somewhat agree with this, or at least I did when I was dating. And here's why, okay? First of all, I don't completely agree with it because obviously I was very open to dating people with sight because, yeah, I wasn't gonna say no to someone who wanted to date me that I liked just because he could see. That'd be amazing. But the reason I somewhat agree with this statement is because, at least for me, I really honestly thought that I would end up with a blind person. I know that's weird to say, but it's true. I literally pictured myself with a blind person, and to be honest, this is weird saying in front of my husband, so babe, just plug your ears, but to be honest, back then, I kind of wanted to be with a blind person. And the reason why was because I liked that idea of someone understanding me in a way that no one else could, and that someone being my best friend or spouse or whatever. I thought that would be so cool. And also my best friend is blind and married to a blind person, so I kind of saw that as something that, because she was, with him before I was with my husband. So I was like, oh, well, that'd be really cool because they understand each other, and I would love to find that too. So I literally I definitely crushed on guys that were sighted. I didn't let that stop me, but I always sort of assumed that I would end up with somebody blind. So when I did meet my husband and fall for someone who with sight, which by the way, I didn't even think about that. And then I was like, it just so happens he can see. That had nothing to do with why I fell in love with him, of course. But when that did happen, I was honestly like shocked, like kind of like, wow, really, Lord? Like I didn't think that would happen. So it was like a good thing, but obviously, obviously a good thing. But like, honestly, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I was very surprised. And I didn't think that would happen. So I'm very blessed that I have a husband with sight. But before that, I definitely would have preferred somebody blind. I hope that long answer made sense. Okay, love, next one.
I am less shallow about romantic partners.
I thought this was an interesting one. I would have to say that I somewhat disagree with this. And here's why. Okay, so to start with, the reason I don't completely disagree with this is because I feel like, honestly, okay, so first off, I think I am a little bit less shallow only because I'm blind. Let's be real. Like I do see people for who they are on the inside and not just the outside. So yeah, I would say a little bit, okay, I am less shallow. But the reason I somewhat disagree, I guess, is because I kind of am still, this is gonna sound really bad. I still kind of am a little bit shallow and I think a little bit judgmental, or I should say I was. Now I'm not because I'm married and I'm not looking for anyone. So the reason I don't completely disagree is because I'm not like really judgmental, like I'm not judging everybody. But at the same time, I somewhat disagree that I'm less shallow because when I was, in the dating phase of my life, I would pay attention to things, not looks, okay? You don't have to be into looks to be shallow, okay? Let's just say that. Because for me, someone's voice was important, or like if they could sing or not, which is hilarious because my husband doesn't sing at all. So the Lord has a sense of humor, but like before, like I was always like, oh, that guy sings good. Maybe, he would be worth having a crush on, or that guy can't sing. Ew, I don't want anything to do with him. Like it was that bad, you guys. So I disagree with this a little bit because, like I said, while I don't think I'm as shallow as maybe the average person because I'm blind, and so that kind of helps me a little bit, I do think I am shallow, or I was shallow in that I would judge people by like if they could sing, or maybe like by their tone of voice. Like I remember meeting people and I'd be like, oh, he sounds annoyed. Like I don't want to talk to him, or like he's probably not very attractive, or like if someone kind of like sounded like a know-it-all, like I don't know. I was just really weird about like, I was really picky about people. And actually, if you watched my How I Met My Husband video that we made like years ago, you will know in that video that at first I was not attracted to my husband, probably for about 4 months. And honestly, it was because I was being shallow. Like I thought like, oh, he sounds like a geek. Like I don't want anything to do with him. Like, ew, he plays video games. Like, I'm telling you guys, I was pretty shallow. So yeah, I hope that answer made sense. Okay, babe, let's move on.
Unsolicited help makes things harder.
Ooh, I think I am going to agree with this one. I agree. And here's why, you guys. So here's the thing. Unsolicited help, to me, that means if somebody just comes up to me and starts helping me. Now, let's just be really honest here, guys. Growing up in my family, they did this to me all the time. And so I kind of sort of grew up with this happening where I would really want to do things as a child. Like I'd want to learn certain things. And this is no offense to my parents. I think every parent has their struggles and they just get by how they can. But my parents were very enabling, and they, to be completely honest, would just do things for me because it was faster. And if my mom was in a hurry and I wanted to tie my own shoes, she'd be like, no, let me do it. We got to go. And she would do it. And to me, I kind of see that as unsolicited help because I wanted to do it. And as I grew up, I noticed that more in my life as well. And I think it's like my personality is very much like, I'll just like, I just kind of go with the flow, or not like go with the flow, but like, how do I say that? Like, I'm not very assertive. Like I'm just kind of, I wouldn't say I'm passive, but I'm just kind of like easygoing with people. And so if someone just starts helping me, I'm not very good at saying, hey, thanks anyway, but I don't need the help. I've gotten way better at that, but that's been something I've struggled with. And so like another example is like if I'm walking when I was in college and people would just come up to me and be like, oh, here, this way. And they would take my dog's handle, like harness handle, or my cane. And you guys, seriously, it made things way harder. And I still find that now, like even with my husband, and he knows this, like if he just starts helping me with something and I'm in the middle of doing it, it makes it very much harder because I have this method that I'm doing. And then he's like, here, babe, I got this. And he's being so sweet, but like it slows me down because, you know, I have a way that I was going to do it. And then I'm like, oh, now you're helping. Oh, now I got to like rethink this whole thing. So yes, I would say, and for everybody it's different. And that's the cool part about this tag is that every blind person's answers are going to be different. But for me, unsolicited help definitely makes things much harder. All right, babe, next one.
The city I live in is easily accessible for me.
I would say I somewhat disagree with this. And the reason that I don't completely disagree with this is because we do have things like Uber, which are in like almost every city now, and Uber and Lyft, and they're very helpful and they definitely make things more accessible. But I somewhat disagree with this statement because while I have Uber and Lyft, it's not affordable for a lot of people, especially here where I live. And I'm not going to tell you what city I live in, but you guys know I do live in Montana. And in Montana, Uber and Lyft are more expensive for whatever reason than they were in California, which is weird, but that's just how it was. So basically, it makes it even harder for me because of that. Like, it just makes it to where I can't afford Uber and Lyft, so why would I use it? You know, I mean, if I have to use it, I do. So I disagree also because we don't have a good public transportation here. We don't have, like, our bus system is just weird here. Like, I don't want to deal with it. Like, you know, it could take me 3 hours to get somewhere that it should only be 10 minutes. Like, it's just crazy. Sorry if you can hear Bella in the background. She's in bed, but I think she's talking to herself a little bit. So if you can hear that, it's just Bella. Anyways, my daughter, she's 2 years old. She's very cute. But yeah, so I would say I somewhat disagree with this because while my city has Uber and Lyft, I don't think it's accessible in many other ways. Our crosswalks are not easy. We have no sidewalks here, mostly because it snows and they just, you know, in snowy areas, there's not often sidewalks, but that makes it hard for me to walk. And it's hard to walk anywhere. Like, there's no routes that are direct. So I would say it's pretty non-accessible. So yeah. Okay, next one.
I am offended when blind is used as one of my descriptive characteristics.
Yeah, you know what? I would have to say that I somewhat agree with this. And the reason I don't fully agree with it is because I do embrace my blindness. I have no problem saying like, hey guys, I'm a blind mom. Like, you know, it's in a lot of my YouTube videos, like blind mom does this or that, or like maybe I just tell people like, yeah, I'm blind. Like, I have no problem saying that I'm blind. Okay. So, but the reason I somewhat agree with the fact that it offends me is because I don't like when people say like, oh yeah, she's blind. Oh yeah, the blind one. And that does offend me. And it doesn't offend me because you're saying the word blind. That doesn't offend me. But it offends me the way it's said. And I think the reason is because growing up, like, I remember in my family, they would always be like, oh, this is my sister, or this is my daughter, or this is my cousin, or whatever. Oh yeah, she's blind. Like, it was always just something that they included in their introduction of me, or like in talking about me. And that offended me. I just didn't like being known as blind, even though yes, I am blind and I have no problem with that. I don't like people introducing me as blind, and it still bugs me to this day. Or like if someone, like if I'm shopping with somebody and the sighted person's like, oh, sorry, she's blind, she didn't know you were there, oh, excuse her. Like, that makes me so mad. Okay. So yes, I get a little bit offended. I somewhat agree when people say like, oh, she's blind, because that bothers me, because to me, it's like, that's not who I am. Yes, it's a part of who I am, but it's not who I am. But the reason I don't fully agree with this statement, like I said, is because the word blind itself does not bother me, because obviously that's what the disability is called, but I'm not defined by that. So I hope that makes sense. All right, sweetheart, next one.
Being blind has affected my mental health.
Yes, I would have to say with this one, strongly agree. Honestly, you guys, I struggle with a lot of depression in my life. I have since I was very little, and I believe with all my heart that if I wasn't blind, I would not struggle. Now, that's not to say I would never struggle. I'm sure I would have some depression, just because I think sometimes it's just a thing that we all struggle with. But I think being blind has definitely made that harder and has been the main reason why I do struggle. I think that just not being able to drive is really hard for me, especially since becoming a mama. Like, I became a mom 2 years ago, and I feel like honestly a lot of my depression has heightened just because like I realize more what I can't do. Like, and it didn't bother me before, but now it bothers me even more. So the fact that I can't drive is hard when you have a baby and you just want to like take them out of the house. So that's hard, and it makes me depressed. And like the fact that I can't see, like, you know, to make sure I look good. I've done videos about this before, but I've gone through that depression in my life. And then just not, I don't know, there's just things that I wish I could do. I wish I could cook better. I think if I could see, I'd be a better cook, even though I try. Maybe I'd clean better. I'd get like every spot. I wouldn't miss spots. I don't know. There's just things I think of that would make my life so much easier, that because of my blindness, definitely I struggle with mental health and depression, and just like sometimes I just feel like I'm less than, if I'm being completely honest. And you know, if I wasn't blind, I think that wouldn't be an issue. So yes, I do think my blindness strongly is the cause for whatever mental health struggles I've had in the past, and what I do struggle with sometimes. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get through this really fast because Bella's really loud over there and I think she needs me. So we're gonna try to get through this. All right, babe, next one.
I have experienced discrimination.
I'd say yes, I somewhat agree with this, because I feel like, yes, I have. I feel like every blind person has experienced discrimination, like maybe not being hired to a job because you're blind, or being told you can't do something because you're blind. I've had all that happen. I've had Uber discrimination, like someone drove away from me when they saw I had a guide dog. So I'd say somewhat agree. The reason I don't fully agree with this is because I haven't experienced it nearly as much as some people, and I'm very grateful for that. All right, I think we've got one more.
Mm-hmm. If I could regain my sight with a cure, I would want to.
Ooh, this one, it's so funny, you guys. This is really interesting. My answer would be different before I became a mom than it is now. So before I became a mom, I would say I disagree with this. I would say that I didn't want my sight back. Now that I'm a mama, I would say I somewhat agree. Okay, really weird, huh? But I'm gonna explain this to you, because basically before I became a mom, like obviously my blindness has never bothered me. The Lord made me this way, and I know that He has a plan for me, so I'm okay with it. But on the other hand, like since becoming a mom, I feel like I've noticed my blindness more, and I've like wished I could see my baby's face, and I wished I could like see to like show her things, and just I feel like it would make her life better if I could see, which obviously is not true. I think her life is still great, but I think that's something I struggle with. And so now I would say I somewhat agree that if there was a cure for my disease, which there isn't, but if there was, I might look into it, and I might see if I could do it, because it'd be really cool to be able to see again. It'd be an adjustment, but it would be awesome, and I would definitely be open to that. And I'd also be open to if the Lord just wanted to miraculously heal my eyes, which I believe if He wants to, He can. Richard and I have prayed about that a lot. For a long time, every night, Richard would pray over my eyes, and we would believe for the Lord to heal me. So if He is going to heal me, I am totally okay with that. All right, you guys, my daughter is now crying, so we are going to end this video. I'm really sorry if I talked fast. I hope all this made sense. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. I'm going to go ahead and tag 2 people right now. I'm going to tag Shelby from the channel Armors and Arrows, and Jerry from the channel My Blind Mama's Messy Kitchen. I would love to hear your answers to this tag whenever you can. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video and you want to see more from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and turn on your notification bell so that you don't miss any of my uploads. Thank you, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!